It's just a fact.
Yeah.
But then I feel like that begins the cycle of you being with this person for 3 years and it's
Yep.
shitty, and
Right.
then you do the
Jumping
same thing,
ship
and then
and
it'll
going.
be 3 more years
Yep.
shitty from somebody else, and just be like,
We all know we
when
have
does it
friends,
stop?
we have people that choose to be in love as long as it's good for them. They call it love. It's not really
Or it's
love.
convenient and
It's convenient and it's really lust, and then they fall out of lust, and then whether they say, well, you know what, I'm out of lust, I don't feel the same way about that person I used to. They say I'm out of love, but really what they are is out of lust, because they really find their soulmate best friend anyway.
Yep.
So,
Still classy and nasty.
Yeah, you know the deal, and they still live. Throwing $100 bills, and they still live. 5 in the morning, and they still live.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Talk Spicy.
Hey, where we don't know how to talk nicely. I'm the lit one, Ritz.
And I'm the groundbreaking Glad. This segment series is about Till Death Do Us Part.
Yeah, so we have my parents here. This is Scott, Mary Beth. Welcome them to the show, everybody.
hello.
Woo! Okay, so we can get into it. You want to start it off?
What do you got?
How did you guys meet?
Well, the short answer to that is we met through the workplace.
Okay.
We work with the same home improvement company. I was marketing manager and he was a subcontractor.
Oh, so y'all were
Jackson.
breaking some rules.
Mm-hmm.
That's
We
not
haven't
company
stopped.
policy.
That's a whole other story and a whole other show. That's the truth of the matter, yes.
What was your first impression of Dad when you met him?
Honestly, I thought he was probably the prettiest man I'd seen. That's what I thought when I saw him, honestly. He was sitting in,
Mind you, that was over 20 years ago.
Judgment-free zone. Judgment-free zone pass.
he was sitting in the warehouse manager's office and he just kind of turned around and looked out the window at me and I just looked in and I saw him and I thought, oh my God, he is so beautiful.
But could you feel it when y'all made eye contact?
No.
No? Oh, no? Okay, it wasn't
I
one of
thought he
those
only dated
moments.
white girls.
So
Yeah,
it
that
was.
look.
So it wasn't love at first sight.
No, he was supposed to be just a one-night stand.
Who are you?
Mom! Hold on, we'll touch back on that in a moment.
Yeah,
We're going to touch back on that in a
we
moment.
get into that. We get into that.
What was your first impression of Mom?
Well, honestly, I knew she was like, she'd come in, she'd say hello to me, and I would say hello back. She would say, hey, handsome. I'd say, hey, gorgeous. And I just thought that that's kind of where it was left, and that's where it was this workplace flirtation. I honestly didn't think somebody like her would be interested in somebody like me. So I never thought, as a matter of fact, so many people in the workplace kept telling me, you know, Mary has a crush on you. Well, there were a couple of Marys in there, and I didn't know which one they were talking about. But I never guessed it was her, because she was probably the last one I thought that they were talking about.
Why do you think that is? I know you said it's because you thought he only dated white girls. Did you just assume that she only dated black men? Honestly?
Yeah, I think probably, honestly, you know, when you're thinking about somebody's got a crush on you and the name's Mary and there's 3 other Marys, the last one you think about is the one that looks,
The one of color.
yeah, the one of color, the one that looks
Yeah.
opposite of you, right? So
Yeah.
You think to yourself, well, that's can't be the one,
Yeah.
you know, but, I mean, in my head, I thought it would be awesome if we did get together. I mean, I had a vision of somebody that I wanted to be with and it looked just like her, but I didn't think she would feel the same way about me. So.
Aww. Look, tear. Tear. Well, the one night stand thing I want to touch back on because the last episode that we did, which was the first episode, we were talking about my last relationship, which was my longest running relationship. That turned into was supposed to be a one night stand, but ended up being, however long we stayed together. What do you think made your guys' relationship turn into more than just the one night stand? That you thought it
For me or
was,
for
mother.
her?
Well,
She
either one
thought it
go
was a
first.
one-night stand, so she would have to answer the one-night stand question.
Yeah.
I can't answer that one.
Yeah.
Because for me,
Because that doesn't relate to you.
yeah, it doesn't relate to me. I wasn't looking at it as a one-night stand. I was looking at it as something more than, Matter of fact, at the time that we first met, I was dating somebody else. And when she approached me and wanted to go on a date, I told her I couldn't because I was seeing somebody else, and I'm a one woman, one guy at a time type of guy.
See, ladies, they are out there. Just so you know, they're out there. Get you one.
That was 30 years ago. No.
2020, I don't know what y'all are gonna do now.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Go ahead.
she act.
I don't know. I guess it was just because of who I heard he was. I knew what it was, so I didn't really care, you know?
So
I
you
thought-
assume that's what he wanted.
Yeah, that's
Not so much that's what you wanted. You
Right.
assume that's what he
Assumption,
wanted.
there you
And I
go.
was okay with that. You know?
Okay.
I
Okay.
was okay with that.
Okay.
Little
That's
did
good.
they know, you can't read it or judge a book by its cover. The assumption she made on me was absolutely the wrong one, so.
Okay. That's good. I like this answer.
That happens a lot.
It does happen a lot.
Yeah. And was that was because of outside, like influences, saying what they
My job
thought
didn't
of
even
someone?
want me dating him.
Yeah.
They were very protective of me and didn't want me around him, didn't want him talking to me, nothing. So,
Because they didn't see his greatness.
well, no, they knew the damage he had done.
Or see, in hindsight, it might be
Or
because they
again.
didn't want
Yeah.
you to be with it. They didn't want you to get that good man.
Well, they made their own assumptions.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
again, everybody can assume you're a certain way or you act a certain way. They perceive to be a certain way for whatever they think. It's not because that's who you are. That's just their own perception of what they presume you to be.
That's true. That's true.
So after so you had to cut ties with your prior relationship.
No, I had a previous relationship.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Oh, okay. So first of all, we've both been married before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is both our second time around. I was divorced, and I was a single guy at the time I met your mother. But my prior relationship was just a dating relationship. That's all. We were just dating. It wasn't a relationship, but I wasn't willing to date more than one woman at a time.
So those relationships didn't overlap. You broke it off with your previous
Yes,
before you
before.
dated
Well,
my
he
mom?
had to because she worked in the same office I did.
Now this.
That's the real deal.
That's the tea. But see, this.
But to go back to my original point, I was upfront and honest and told her I was dating somebody else. I would not date more than one woman at a time. Everybody deserves equal opportunity. I was like, no, I can't go. I'm not going to do that. So regardless. what
That's
the
very
relationship-
honorable. Of
So
you
how
guys.
did you get to the point to where you guys got together?
Well, I knew the one that I was dating that was just a fling wasn't somebody that I was going to be saw myself with for a long term.
That
That's
makes
so
sense. That makes
crazy.
sense.
So
crazy.
I said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's move on and let's see. Your mother at that time was pursuing me, and I said, well, you know what? Let's see where this goes. It's at least worth a shot, like anything else.
Yeah.
Not that I had a lot of high hopes for it. That I thought it was going to be like this is going to be the rest of my life and that woman.
Yeah.
But we were willing to give it a shot. And after one date, then I said to myself,
You
this
did.
is going to be the rest of my life.
It's lit.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So you guys don't feel like you moved too fast?
No.
Okay, with that, did you feel that you became friends before, like?
Before things got heavy, before
yes.
things
You
got
know, like-
heavy, emotions.
I would say this, the reason why I fell in love with your mother on the first date is because I knew this is a woman who was happier and stronger and had a lot of adversity in her life where she didn't have to be any one of those things, but chose to be, which made me feel like the stuff that I was going through in my life was weak compared to what she'd been through in her relationships in life. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is just a really cool person I can talk to,
He
have a
should've
friendship
thought about
with.
That. He's like, oh.
And I'll say this, you said friendship, that to me is the most important thing about any relationship is friendship,
Facts.
absolutely.
That's a big fact.
Good.
Without that, you have nothing.
I agree.
Oh, so was there a 90-day rule?
Obviously not if she went with the one night stand.
No,
That is still
Yeah, I slept with him on
complexing,
our first date.
Okay.
but she made me work for it, and I had to work very, very hard.
hard 24 hours for you.
It started in the morning and it went late into the next day, so yes, it was a lot of work.
Okay.
I had to shed a tear to pretend like I didn't know that. I should do that.
Is that the game you played?
That's great. So no 90-day rule. No 90-day
day
rule.
rule. That is
What?
episode 2, where everyone what? It's
You're
all
playing
about
games at that point.
Yeah. You know, whether it takes you 24 hours, 2 weeks, you know.
Well, you're both grown people, so you already know. You've already been there. You've had previous relationships. You get together, and we don't have to pretend or play. I mean, if you feel a certain way about somebody, it's going to happen sooner or later. You might as well get it out of the way if you got no other.
Especially to see if you're going to like it.
Yeah. What do they say?
Might not like
Something
this
about
tomorrow.
buying the cow. Why buy the cow when you could get the milk? Something. But if the milk's good,
Right.
then I'm keeping this fucking cow.
Dang it, no, resort.
I mean, you gotta. That's true. I mean, that's the absolute truth. I mean, the reality of it is, early on, the reason why people are attracted to each other to begin with is
It's physical.
It's physical.
Yes.
It's lust,
Lust.
and that's what gets you together,
Lust.
right?
I said lust at first sight. That's
I was
what
going to
said.
say, so question, I know you said it wasn't that, but do you believe in love at first sight? Do you think can you understand that? Do you believe in love at first sight?
I can believe that you're attracted to someone
That's
when you
what I
first
say.
see him.
Lust,
But
yeah.
how do you know you're in love with somebody you don't know, you haven't spoken
Exactly.
That's what
to?
I
You don't know
say.
their morals, their values, where they are at.
I would
in the
agree.
world.
Quote unquote. That is exactly what I said, Mom. I was like, I can't love you just
I don't
off of
know
looking
you.
at
I
you.
don't even know you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really lust it's like a bird who plumes its feathers and does the dance and all. We're attracted to that, and that's what brings us together.
Yeah.
But what keeps us together is not lust, but love, and really, more importantly, like. You have to like the other person.
Yes.
Yes.
And, like is the first and foremost, and then love can build upon like. Because if you don't have like, all the other things can fade. That lust fades, all the other stuff will go away eventually. Happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you still genuinely like each other at the end of the day, and you can look at her and she can look at me, and I know she's my best friend, there's somebody else I want to spend time with, and I know that's going to be the rest of my life, it makes it a heck of a lot easier knowing that the rest of your life is going to be spent with your best friend or somebody you like.
Period. Period.
Love-
We don't even need to go any further. Period. That's it. That's
Straight
it.
like that. So within the relationship, as you said, 20 years y'all been together.
Been together, been married for how long?
So we've been together for a little over 20 years. We have been married because we
12.
didn't rush into it for 12 years. So
They were engaged for like 8,
Right.
9 years, mind you.
Right.
We still
true.
getting to
No,
figure out if I
there's
like
no
you.
time. There's no
We're still
rule
getting to
book.
figure out if I
There's
like
no,
you.
there's
I can
no,
do you every day.
yeah.
Well,
There's no direction.
if anybody was cautious, it was us because obviously we took our, you say rush in? No, we did not rush in. We took our time with it. We wanted to make sure that
The good, the
this
bad,
was
and
who
the
we were
ugly.
going to be, and this is what we wanted to do for the rest of our lives. And at some point, you just look at each other and go, I ain't going nowhere. You going anywhere?
Yeah.
So-
And I think that's kind of how we can relate just because he's been through some shit. I've been through some shit. And by the time that we met, we knew that we didn't want to keep going through shit. So how can we make this relationship work? And that was,
That was communication.
yeah.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah, we had to talk and, know each other and want to be friends. Like nothing was forced anywhere on the round table.
What I say about love is I think love is a state of mind. And what I mean by that is
He does always say
you
that.
choose to be in love, right? So when you meet somebody that you think is your all and your being and whatnot, well, you're actually making a choice. You're choosing to love that person for the rest of your life. Now, love, like all choices, you can choose not to love somebody anymore. You can choose to look at the other way. You can look at the grass is greener on the other side and all the things that you think maybe you're not getting that you need to be getting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are all your mind going in different directions because you're not choosing to be in love with that person anymore. And if you choose not to be in love with that person anymore, which is way too often what people do,
Because it's an easy choice.
it's an easy choice.
It's easier to stay.
That's right.
No, it's easier to leave than to stay.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's human nature, right? We all think the grass is greener on the other side, but if you look at each other and all you see in that other person is what you have,
Weeds on it.
There's weeds. There's dead grass that you just couldn't see.
it's true. It's just a fact.
But then I feel like that begins the cycle of you being with this person for 3 years and it's
Yep.
shitty, and
Right.
then you do the
Jumping
same thing,
ship
and then
and
it'll
going.
be 3 more years
Yep.
shitty from somebody else, and Just be like.
We all know we
Where
have
does it
friends,
stop?
we have people that choose to be in love as long as it's good for them. They call it love. It's not really
Or it's
love.
convenient and it's
It's convenient and it's really lust, and then they fall out of lust, and then whether they say, well, you know what, I'm out of lust, I don't feel the same way about that person I used to. They say I'm out of love, but really what they are is out of lust, because they really find their soulmate best friend anyway.
Yep.
So once you fall out of lust, it's way too easy if you don't have your best friend or your soulmate to go start looking somewhere else.
Amen.
And that's what way too many.
Just start a church, baby. Just start a church. That's good. So obviously, you guys built your foundation. Your guys' relationship is, working great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a such thing as too much space or not enough space? How do you feel, and I need both answers.
I believe that you can give somebody too much space. People who I don't need to be around him every day. He can go do his own thing. He can go on vacation. He could go do and be. But do I miss him? Oh, absolutely.
Which is
would.
good sometimes to
Yeah.
miss your
Well,
partner.
Yeah, I think it's important for each
You should
person
miss your
First of all,
to continue to build as individuals as well as a couple.
Right.
You know? So
True.
yeah.
True.
I'm not saying he can go away for 2 or 3 months because there's going to be a problem.
What about 2 or 3 weeks? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
well, if you're
Yeah.
if
You can
you're
do- okay.
in love with somebody, there's no such thing as too much space, because the person you're in love with, if they feel the same way, they don't want too much space either. So neither one of you really wants to be apart from each other longer than what you have to be, if it's real love, right? There's days I like being by myself, so I can sit in the house and I can just watch my movies and do my thing, but I never want to be too long without your mother.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of love, is that,
There
there's,
is too much.
if one person wants more space than the other one,
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation.
then you need to have a conversation.
And so that comes into with compromising,
Oh,
Well, the whole
So-
relationship is nothing but compromises, right?
which
You're
is
not willing to
which is
compromise.
extremely hard.
Well, here's
I
what I
said
think about
that's the hardest
compromise and
thing.
relationship. This is how I see compromise and how I see relationships. Everybody that gets in a relationship well, first of all, they say opposites attract. I'm going to use that because when it comes to your mother and I, opposites attract. And that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
You want opposites, because if you're not opposites and you're too much alike, then you're way too much alike, and then there's nobody to balance out the relationship. So you need to have the yin and the yang of the relationship. You come together, and then you have a perfect balance of relationship. And with that, you have to respect the other person's strengths and weaknesses. Well, you have to respect the other person's
I
strengths.
forgot what the question.
And what I mean by that is everybody in a relationship, because as human beings, we have both strengths and weaknesses. You have strengths and weaknesses. He has strengths and weaknesses. I have the same. She does too. And when you come together and you balance each other off, and I know that my weaknesses are going to be her strengths, and my strengths are going to be her weaknesses. That's what you need to respect about each other, and you also need to stay in your own lanes. Because if you decide,
Ooh, not stay in your own lanes. I'm sorry.
That makes
and
a
what,
lot of
and
sense.
what
It does,
I
it
mean, and
really
what I
does.
mean by that is when I say stay in your own lanes. Look, if I'm more proficient or the expert in such and such an areas, and you're the expert and proficient in such and such an areas, then don't try to tell me how to run my area, and I won't try to tell you how to run your
Tell him,
area.
Scott. Tell him, Scott.
Because if it got us this far and it's been working, then let's
Well, you've been waiting for that minute, huh?
well, no, and what I don't mean that. I mean, again, it goes both ways. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
from my perspective to her perspective. I got to know when she's better at something than what I'm better at, and so I got to know when I'm better at what she's. And I think that comes naturally though in a relationship. It should anyway, because if it doesn't, and you're butting heads all the time over the same things and the same issues, and you haven't come to the conclusion that naturally you should fall into these roles.
Right.
Back in the old days, that's what they called them a role. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Now your
You're
roles
gonna stay
today.
in your lane, I get it.
Your roles
Every
today
now
are
and then,
determined by what you two determine them to be. So they're
I
not
agree.
traditional roles anymore. It's not like the woman does this and the man does that.
Mm-hmm.
The roles today are defined by how you
Personal.
define them.
Period.
And then when you define those and you fall in that natural groove of things, that's how things will work. And you got to
Yeah.
respect each other for your strengths.
So
I
as
agree.
a role, as having roles,
Mm-hmm.
is there head of the house,
No, you
or is 50? Go
50-50.
ahead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50-50.
My
But
question.
again, 50-50. There's no head of the house. It's an equal relationship. It's 50-50. But like any kind of corporation or company runs, house runs the same way.
Yeah.
You're in charge of this, I'm in charge of that. We've already determined that's what we're best at. So don't come over and tell me how to run my side, and I won't tell you how to run yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How hard was it to compromise outside of roles, meaning cleaning, cooking, paying bills, whatever? Outside of that, how hard was it for you to compromise emotionally wise? Like, did you have to compromise, say you didn't like something, or say, something was like, hold on, but you were like, let me just.
No, I only think that, like you said, I think that, opposites attract. So I think it was easier for us to compromise because I'm different than him. I didn't grow up the way he did. He didn't grow up the way I did. So it was just easy.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Yeah.
Still is.
That's good. I think that compromise
You
for
of all
us.
people, no.
Yeah, no, I know. Fight or flight. Where's my suitcase? 'Cause I'm out. Got that from my mom. That's all I can say.
Oh, you got it honest.
I know exactly where it's from.
Ain't nothing in here I really need except my dog and my cat.
Don't forget the dog. Don't forget the dog. Do you think some relationships are based off of codependency, meaning like,
Oh, absolutely.
I only want to be around you to make sure you're not doing nothing,
Oh,
to make sure, like,
absolutely.
have you ever experienced that? Like, where it's not so much I'm enjoying spending time with you, I just want to make sure.
Oh, no.
No, I think codependency is probably, that's probably more the norm than not. I think there's always one person that's more, not in our relationship, who
Yeah,
wouldn't be
no.
successful. If you want a successful relationship, then that's a dysfunctional relationship. And unfortunately, that's all too common. So codependency, like I need one person so much that I'm willing to give up myself and who I am, or maybe I don't
you're
even know
just
that
too
who I
worried
am.
about what the other person is doing. If you're worried about what that person is doing,
Leave.
there's a problem.
Not all the time though.
Hold on, I was going to
'Cause
say,
I feel like you have people that, because of what they have been through and relationships they've been through, they project that on the next one and the next one.
Well, that
Yes.
is true because
Makes
I
sense.
do
Well, that's
believe
true,
he
sure.
had to deal with a bunch
you were
of
about to say suffer.
Yeah.
Yes, he was suffering.
Yeah, he did.
That's called baggage, and we all have
But
it.
again,
We
that
all
wasn't
come with it.
necessarily
We all
because
need
of
to
something
unpack
that
it.
he did. It was something that I lived through before. You know what I mean? It wasn't because he was untrustworthy. It was from the past.
Right. Yeah,
So,
baggage.
so
We all
it's
carry
projected
baggage.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that has to be like totally communicated about, and you have to
Oh,
learn
you know
why.
it's damaged goods when it's bad.
Well, no, because nobody's going to tell you right up front. Look, I got baggage, and this is my
Oh, I
problem.
did?
Because I had it. You had it. All people have it.
We had the same luggage.
But not all people
You know,
are
who's
honest
going on
about the
trip?
baggage that they carry.
That's a
So
fact.
when they get into a relationship, is the other person, and nobody's going to come into a relationship going, I got so much baggage and I'm so effed up, you need to know this. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but most of the time they don't recognize it themselves. So
Facts.
how can they tell you they have all this baggage when they don't even know they had this baggage?
Yes.
So as the
Yes.
other person, if you truly love that person,
Self-reflection.
you have to be there to unpack that baggage with them, to work through it, sort through it, and, well, that goes both ways, because nobody's free of baggage. We all
Yeah.
are. So we
That's-
got to be willing to help each
Yeah,
other
don't
through
unpack
it.
that baggage too far. You can't put it in a suitcase.
Run. That's a
Don't
good point,
always
though.
keep a suitcase back by the freaking
Yeah,
door.
don't keep
Do
your
not.
shit in
Do not.
Tupperware cases because you're
That just tells the other person you're always looking for a way out and a way to run.
Hey,
No.
I kept my shit in Tupperware for about a year.
No, probably two.
Two years, I'm like, look,
He just got his shit
because
all
I'm
the way
projecting.
back.
I'm projecting the outcome of other situations on this one. Like,
Okay.
like
No,
damn,
I
like,
get it.
like
So
nah.
you
man.
guys are both talking the same language. You're saying you were projecting on her like she was projecting it
It's
towards
definitely,
you.
100%.
definitely was. I
100%.
definitely was. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to
Okay.
learn like, okay, she's different. you feel
A
me? Like,
nice word to you.
she's very different. You know, 'cause
Thanks, babe.
the rest of them
But
just.
she had to learn that about you too, so it goes
Yeah.
both ways. So in your case, it went both ways.
Very
But
much
that's
so.
normally the case with every relationship. There's no
Right.
perfect.
Yeah.
a successful one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes.
Successful.
Yes.
Right.
Was it hard for you to learn how to communicate versus arguing? Were you used to arguing like prior, like,
Yes.
okay, the only reason I'm asking is because communication was a topic for us that took us a while to get through, to figure it out how each other wants to communicate. Because I'll just shut down and not talk.
Oh no, I'll holler.
And I'm
See? He's the
very
hollerer.
debatable.
He'll be
I like
hollering.
debating, but
Yeah.
it's not like, I'm gonna kill
Yeah,
you type.
no,
I'm
it's
just I just talk
loud.
loud.
And I'm like,
But she don't understand
I
that
don't
she's
wanna-
loud too. She thinks she's talking in a calm voice, but we can hear her 2 blocks away.
This is true.
Just
I hear her
talking,
laugh.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm just trying to
to.
match her energy, but her energy for what we talking about is not on the same level.
I get that.
Yeah.
So it kind of scared her at first, and I'm like, I gotta dumb that down, So it's been a few times I just be like, "You right," and then I come back and
Yeah, then we'll talk
After
about
she
it
done calmed
later.
down.
Yeah,
Well, after
yeah.
I done calm down,
Yeah.
cause she's pretty much calm for the most part.
I try to
Well, I
keep it
think
cool.
Well, also
he's
you
the
think
calmer one.
what works in your previous relationships, you'll realize the dynamics change and doesn't work in your current relationship. So, yeah,
I'm ready
if
to
you've
go.
had bad relationships in the past and screaming and hollering worked for you because that's how you had, because they were dysfunctional relationships to begin with. So
Toxic is
toxic,
the word we
yeah.
like
so
to
you're,
use.
you're bringing that toxic habits that you
Into the
had
new
previously into the new relationship.
Yes.
But then I learned it didn't work for me. Like yourself, I used to be
Yes.
a hollerer. Or think of that could be, sure, I was more mad than she was.
Yeah. Alpha.
Yeah,
like,
well,
yeah.
all that did to her was make her go, you know what?
What? We out. Where's my bag? I know I left it in the corner over there.
With
yeah.
enough stuff to go. I'm out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you raise your voice at me. What do you
I be
think?
like
you're
I
talking?
be like I was only talking. I just
A
talk
little
loud.
too loud, sir.
Right.
If you in the bedroom, I'm in the living room. I got to,
And it's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
But
no,
then
no.
you look at yourself when they point it out to you and you go, well, you know what? Here you are hollering at them. And it's having this reflex reaction where they're not, not only are they not listening
know
to
what's
you,
gonna happen
they got
if
this
you holler at
yeah,
me.
they got this knee-jerk reaction where they're just like, done, out. So,
Yeah.
all you're doing is just, then you see it and you go, well,
Which isn't
that's
fair.
not working.
No,
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's a reflex,
That's
not
right.
not
because alphas have to growl sometimes.
Yeah.
It just depends on the
But
subject.
we are
I
alpha
feel like
females.
exactly.
So we are gonna growl right back at you.
That's all I'm saying. You feel me? But I guarantee when y'all yell at us, it'd be like, okay,
And I think that's a young
Like,
trait.
okay,
I think
you
that's
know.
a trait that comes with maturity too. The older
Yeah.
you get, the less
Yeah.
you feel the need to
holler,
holler
yeah.
or exercise
just
your prowess.
self-reflection, people. Period. If
Yeah.
your last relationship didn't work, you don't only need to think about what the other person did wrong.
Think about you too.
Exactly, because there's always something you did wrong. Period. Because I'm sure you could have made it work with that person, but something about you didn't make it work. So just think about your actions.
What you brought to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we know a handful of women. You got a handful of different child's fathers. And still don't have a man that's with you. Like, you got to look at yourself sometime. Like, it can't be the man
All the time.
Like, it
Why are
can't
you
be.
picking these men?
Ma'am? The common denominator in that situation is you.
Exactly.
It's you.
Period.
Well, you're only going to get out into the universe, into the relationship. What you put out there is what you're going to get back. So whatever if you allow yourself to be disrespected and be a doormat, and you want somebody to love you for that, but you can't respect yourself, but you expect a man to, no, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to have
Ooh.
self-respect, love yourself first,
He
and
just
then a
needed his
man
own
will
show.
too.
Don't tell him that.
He just needed his own show because he's dropping some jewels for you. I'm glad this was the first episode. Well,
For real.
outside of us, the second episode, because they'll tell it like it is, and they have the most experience out of any of us that you'll see.
We're still here.
We're still here.
On Sunday.
And apparently we raised a
yeah.
great daughter, and she's got a good man who think about these things and talk about them themselves, and that's why we're on their show. So,
And we appreciate y'all.
Yes, we really do.
we love you
And
guys.
Sunday will be our 12-year anniversary.
Let's take a shot for that.
Yeah,
Can we
let's
do
take a
that?
shot for that.
Can we
Can
do
we pour
that?
some shots? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Patron. Sponsor us.
Yeah. Well, and in his words to me, he said that was one of the reasons that that drew him to me was the fact that I wasn't going to take his crap.
Like, sir.
I wasn't going to tolerate his bull crap. Nothing.
Well, a strong man wants a strong woman.
Oh, and I'm strong. I may not look strong, but I am.
Because if you don't, you're not really, well, you first of all,
I know.
you're not
I-
really a strong man. If you don't want somebody who's your equal, who can entertain both your mind and your
Yeah,
body,
yeah, you're weak.
then you're weak.
And if you're weak, they'll take advantage of you, bitch.
Well,
Every time.
Women do it too.
oh,
Every time. I ain't gonna
They're
disagree
the,
with that because I know.
they're the best at it.
Yeah.
Women are the best
Cheers.
at
I
it.
got the big
Cheers,
glass.
cheers,
So cheers.
Yes.
cheers.
all right.
That's to successful relationships.
Yes.
Shouts out to Patron.
Till death do us part.
Or Patron do this part.
So, well, can't not really ask when is a good time for kids. Or when
They can give opinions on outside looking in.
Well, I hope this does not hurt your feelings.
It doesn't.
Oh,
Look,
well.
hold on. Pause. She has told me that if she could go back and not have children, she wouldn't have.
As
So,
much as I love her.
as much as she
Damn,
loves
I
you,
wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have mattered.
eBay.
Oh, I know.
But-
I know.
But yes, that's why some children don't get aborted.
But
But
you,
yeah, with that,
but you
that
have
doesn't
to
hurt my
understand the
feelings.
reason why that we say that.
I get
A lot of people have kids just because they can. It
Yeah.
doesn't. They're not having kids for like they did back in the old days to help them on the farm, to help them do this stuff. They just do it because
Yeah.
they can't or for a paycheck.
Mhm.
And nowadays, with the way that the world is, even when you guys were small, if we really look back at it,
Yeah.
you had it to
Reproduce? Procreate.
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 That's it. I want
Yeah.
to see what a little me looks like.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So what I say by having kids is you don't have kids to save a relationship or to try and improve a relationship.
Please don't
Or-
stop it
Or trap.
now.
Well, trap.
Stop.
That
why
should have
they're
been a
all
give me,
having
right?
That's why they're
That
all
child
having
support
them.
check
Now.
is only $50
Now.
if he doesn't work. Ladies.
All those are the wrong reasons to have children. The time you have children is when your relationship is strong enough to survive children. That's when.
I don't think any relationships go
Everybody's doomed. No one have kids. Please stop now.
Get a cat, get a dog. There's a lot of them out there. I love them, but it's really, really tough. And I'll say this to you too: as amazing as your life is, can you imagine? Your animals. It's one thing. Can you imagine if you got little
I mean, we always imagine that and talk about that. We really discuss
we talk
that.
about kids all
But I'm
the
like,
time.
For
But
one,
we
you know how.
now isn't the time.
Yeah, because for one,
It's life altering.
It's hard to find someone that you care for with no children,
and that's why I think
and
you
then
guys are
vice versa.
awesome,
It's
too.
like
That
it's hard to find a
doesn't
man
happen.
with no children. Like
At
so-
our age,
Right.
I'm 29. By the way, he's 32.
32.
Just so you know.
Right.
Period.
So, you know.
Found a diamond
Period.
in the butt.
Yeah, and a lot of couples that are your age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, all they say is, I wish we would have waited.
Mhm.
But waited for what?
Yeah.
Because when is the perfect time? When is not the perfect time? I guess
I've heard there's never a perfect.
There is
isn't.
never a perfect
There isn't.
Yeah.
See, I just
But there are better times.
There are
Yeah.
better
You
times.
can't have children by mistake. You can't have children
Yes.
unplanned.
There's no such thing as
These-
by mistake. in
these
this day and age.
things
Come
of-
on.
It seems like there's nothing but by mistake these
Nothing's
days,
by
right?
mistake.
Oh, that's just what they say.
Well, point being is you have to have a strong enough relationship to survive children. They're not going to enhance, improve, or bring you something or trap.
They're gonna test your
Somebody-
relationship, if anything, right?
You have to have, that's what I mean, you have to, between the two of you, have a bond that's unbreakable before you test yourself with children, because they will test
Is that little
you
bastard?
to no end.
So I can't drop him off at Granny and Papa's
Because
house.
your life is no longer your own.
You mean
Now
death
your life
blanket
belongs
now?
to the children you just brought into this
Yeah.
world. And that's the problem, is that
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
now you're not living for you anymore. You're living for these children you brought in the world.
I'm stressed thinking about it, y'all. Hold on, let me take a sip. Yeah. I'm just glad we're on the same page about that. There was no, I want to have a baby, or no, we were both on the same page. Like, I don't really want to talk about it right now. Like, we can
Right.
go to Jamaica.
Well, look,
if
we gotta
want to.
find you every weekend, so you can't be having no
Exactly.
children.
We're just
That's
ripping
good.
and running.
Well, you bring up a good point by saying you're glad you're on the same page with that, and children, because that really brings
Because
you
what
to
if
relationship
she stopped
goals.
taking her pill and you found out she was pregnant? Would you be pissed?
I wouldn't go down
No.
that road, but-
No.
I don't think he would.
Not at this point, because we've really done a lot.
You ain't done doing. Look at your calendar.
We ain't went to Miami yet together.
If I could digress for a minute and bring it back for a second.
Yeah.
Well, you were just saying about how you guys, agree upon and you're on the same page with having children right now, right?
That'd be so
You gotta
shady.
lie.
I feel like that's how you need to be, how couples should be on the same page, always about all big things in your life. You know what I mean?
Life-changing
you don't,
decisions.
you don't have to agree about everyday thing, but you certainly need to be on the same page about life goals
Yes.
and where you want to be and where you see
Yeah.
yourself in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
Because everything else, as people, we're all going to have different opinions about things.
Sure.
We're never going to be on the same page. But ultimately, you need to know where you see each other.
Because that's
the end of it
that's-
all.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed. I like that. So now we're about to get to the spicy part of the conversation.
I feel like we've been talking for way too long. Go
we
ahead.
haven't. 'Cause it's gonna get chopped and screwed.
Yeah.
Okay,
37
go on.
minutes.
Go on.
Yeah.
Okay. Sex is gonna be the topic. How important is sex to keeping a relationship alive, healthy?
Can I answer it? I'll give my answer.
You can go first, but I'm gonna ask my
Yeah,
mama.
both of you.
My mama needs to know. Go
So in
ahead.
the beginning, as a
Mhm.
young man, it's everything. I mean, it's part of us. It's the whole reason why you guys met, why you're together, but at the end of it all, you will get older.
Mhm.
It will become less and less important,
Mhm.
and less infrequent.
Mhm.
But again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the
The
beginning,
friendship.
the friendship.
Yep.
Because when that dies off, you still have each other. And you
Mhm.
can still look at that person, like that person, laugh and joke and have a good time with that person.
Mhm.
And the sex isn't so important
Is it
anymore.
the back of your thought process?
Oh, it's
Yes.
always good. There's
Yeah.
always, you're always going to think to yourself at some
Yeah.
point. It's, you go from every
Hold on,
day to once a week to once a month to whatever.
Yeah.
And at some point, I look at your mother every day and I still think to myself how cute she is and how pretty she is and damn, But it's not like I want
Halle
to jump her
Berry.
every day, And I don't. Sometimes I'm just good with the thought of looking at her and seeing her walking around my house and smacking her on the butt and thinking to myself, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I completely get that. What do you think?
No, I agree with the answer. He's my best friend. If the sex falls by the wayside for whatever reason, I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Because as long as I know he's not out there, doing something else, which I know it's never even in my mind, I'm good.
It's not for whatever reason. It's for the reason of you getting older, age is creeping up on you.
Libido.
Yeah, nature's taking its course.
Mhm.
So it's not
I
forever.
have to like you
yeah.
outside of.
Like if I'm 20-something years old and my wife's not giving me sex anymore and I'm in demand here, there's an issue there.
Yeah.
But when nature progresses and things takes its course and, as time goes on, you progress with time and then it becomes an issue of,
But you know what? We're still intimate in different ways, and I don't mean that to
Oh,
sound
yeah,
like
absolutely.
an excuse.
No,
But
I
like
get
we
it.
lay on the couch
Ah,
and
'cause
he'll
a
put
good
his head
foot-
in my lap, and I'm like,
good
rub
head.
his
hair.
rub his
That's
back.
The
He'll
frequency-
grease my scalp,
Yeah,
bitch.
that's
the frequency is less than when we were in our
Yeah.
20s and 30s,
Yeah.
but it's still fine.
Yeah.
And that's,
I get it.
That's
Foot
the way
rub, massage,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah, there's always that.
No,
not
we're
a
both
s-
still healthy, natural, attractive human beings. So,
If
when,
he's out of
when,
cigarettes
when
and
it
I have to
strikes
go get him
us,
cigarettes, that
then
means
we
I love
will
them.
we hit it. But it's not
random
an
stuff.
overwhelming need anymore.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's good.
Which makes you think clear as an adult. When you
Yeah.
got that off your mind, you start to see the world a little bit clearer.
Oh, no.
That's how you get wiser with age.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's it. But he's still my best friend. After 20 years,
Absolutely.
I swear to you, he is my best.
And I say the same, and the only woman I have eyes for.
Yeah. Aww.
We go on
love
trips
it.
together still. We just do stuff together still. And I'm fine with that. We don't need a room full of people to have a good time.
Yeah,
So we're good.
that's good.
It's
And
on
I
a
love
morning
that.
or a night
and
or a
that's
day.
why I wanted y'all here, because I feel like we relate to y'all the most just because we don't know anything about the other couples that we plan on interviewing. But you guys are great. You guys are great. You guys are gonna get your shit done. And
We love you guys. too.
goals, hashtag goals. Follow them. I'm just kidding. They got no social media. No social media.
It's our first social media experiment right
Yes.
here. So,
Truthfully,
yeah.
my parents were a little nervous about being on a social media platform. So here they are.
They did great.
Is
They did
our
great.
business.
Yes.
They did great.
Write this down in history. Whoever's history book. I don't care whose book it is. Just let them know
They did
that
great.
Mary Beth and Scott touchdown on Talk Spicy.
Awesome. Thank you guys.